So thank you so much for joining us. This webinar is one of 7 that we're delivering across this week to celebrate National Apprenticeship Week, alongside 2 masterclasses that our partner company, Just IT, are also delivering. If you are interested in exploring any of the sessions, then Sam's going to add a link shortly to the chat. Some of them were yesterday, so I appreciate there might be a couple that may have been missed on there. But you can always pick that up with us separately if there's something else that you're interested in knowing more about. So Sam will do that. So my name is Jess. I'm a client engagement manager here at BPro. And this session aims to give you an insight into the level 5 people professional apprenticeship, as well as having a full breakdown of what an apprenticeship actually involves. With me on the call is Sam, who's a wonderful colleague of mine, who's kindly given up her time to help me. So Sam's going to be in the chat box more than anything, adding in some links and some more information as we move through. Important to say, there's no need to make notes. The session is being recorded, so you will have a copy of the recording after the call, and there'll be links and different pieces of information put into the chat. So don't worry about making notes, taking screen grabs, anything like that. Sam's a fountain of knowledge in everything HR and L&D as well. So if I can't answer anything, I bet you Sam can. So please, can you keep your cameras off and yourselves on mute? Please do use the chat box for any questions. We'll get to those as we move through, and we can answer anything specific at the end. Okay. So let's begin. Firstly, I want to introduce BPro's delivery team. So as an apprentice, you will work with the delivery team more so than you'll work with anybody else. The delivery team will have clear roles and responsibilities that they will help you through your learner journey, essentially, and they're all experienced and qualified in their industry. So starting off with development coaches. So your development coach will be the person that you probably will work with the most during your apprenticeship from a BPro standpoint. And they will hold your hand through the whole apprenticeship, providing you with coaching, support, and their job is really to find those opportunities to help you build your portfolio. Within your portfolio, you have to evidence what we call KSBs. And that stands for knowledge, skills, and behaviours. And it's the coach's job to find opportunities for you to kind of meet those knowledge, skills, and behaviours as you're moving through your apprenticeship. They will also hold 8-week meetings with you and your line manager. We call them tripartite meetings. And the point of those is to make sure that the relationship remains extremely strong between all parties. So you have your employer, so the organisation that you work for, yourself as the learner, and then us as the learner delivery side of things. And the point is really is to make sure that you're getting the support from your employer to do your apprenticeship. So they are affording you those off the job hours that they committed to when we all signed up, when you enrolled. You're not having lots and lots of pressure put on you at work, and then your off the job hours are being kind of like forgotten about. With us, it's to make sure that we are delivering the apprenticeship in a way that is good for you, to make sure that you're understanding what we're telling you. And it's also to keep yourself accountable for your deadlines and the commitment that you made at enrolment when you started your apprenticeship. So those development coaches, they will kind of head up those reviews. Okay. So moving on then to tutors. So the tutors deliver the workshops. So you will have a workshop roughly every 4 weeks for the level 5 people professional. They are for 3-hour blocks, and they will always be on the same day of the week. So if you enroll and your first workshop is, let's say, on a Tuesday morning, your workshops will remain on a Tuesday morning during your apprenticeship as you move through it. And your tutor is the person that will do all of the learning delivery in that respect. And functional skills tutors. Now, you may or may not know, today there was an announcement that functional skills, for those of us that are 19 and over, is now not mandatory for level 3 and up. So you used to need to have level 2 in maths and English, whether that be through GCSE certificates. So if you've got a GCSE in maths and English at level C already, or level 4 if you're younger, that's absolutely fine. But for those of us that don't, we would have had to enrol in functional skills in order to do a level 3 or above apprenticeship. However, today, the government have decided that it is now on the employer to decide whether or not they want the apprentice to enrol. So your employer may well say, do you know what? You don't need to. That's with your employer, that's not sitting directly with us. And that is fresh off the press this morning. So I've got slides in this presentation about functional skills. I'm going to go through them just in case there's anybody on the call that is under 19 or 19 or under. And I don't know if there is or not. So it may be that those slides aren't as relevant to you now as they would have been literally yesterday. But things change, hey? So moving on then to Be Pro and who we are and what we believe in, just to talk for a very quick minute about our values. But we do hold these very, very close to everything that we do at Be Pro, and we put them at the front of the decisions that we make and the way that we behave. And yeah, we are all very committed to providing the best learning experience suited to each individual and the customer's needs. We encourage, we motivate, and we inspire our learners in their success, and we promote equal opportunities and value diversity. We are responsible and accountable within our business, and we are open and transparent in all that we do. And that is something I can tell you that everybody in the organisation that I'm proud to work for does, and will continue to do. So moving on to the next slide, you may recognise some logos and names on here of large businesses that we work with. I think we're over 300 businesses that we're currently contracted to work with. And that has grown massively in the last 12 months. Last year was a really, really good year in terms of growth for us. And we are looking forward to seeing that increase further as we move through 2025. So yeah, you'll recognise, I'm sure, a lot of names on there. We're particularly proud of our contract with Amazon. We're now entering our 5th year of contracting with them. We've also worked with Ocado since 2019. Which we're, have a really good relationship with Ocado, and you'll see lots on there. We also work an awful lot with councils, universities, NHS providers and trusts, as well as much smaller employers. It's just as important to us, particularly schools. We do an awful lot with schools in terms of HR and L&D. It's a really useful thing for schools to have within their organisation. So now we're going to move on through a bit of an overview of apprenticeships, because I think it's important not just to talk about the level 5 people professional, but I want everybody on the call to kind of have an overview of an apprenticeship and exactly what it entails, because it is a really big commitment, and I'm not scared to tell you that at the start. You need to be really committed to it. So does your employer. I know there'll be people on this call that are looking to potentially enroll themselves, and there'll be also people who are sort of on the call looking to maybe enroll some of their team. So from both sides, it's really important that everybody knows exactly what they're signing up for, and that's why I'm going to go through an overview of an apprenticeship now. So who can start an apprenticeship? You definitely need to be 16 or over. Now, when I first started this job, before I had the background that I've got now and the training that I've had, I thought apprenticeships were for school leavers, sort of college leavers, age 16, 17, 18. And they're not. There is no upper age limit to an apprenticeship. So you can be 60, provided you're working in the right job role and your employer is supporting you, you can enrol, absolutely no problem at all. We know that the levy funding, the government levy funding, only applies to England. Therefore, if you are living in Scotland, Wales or Ireland, those residents do not qualify. You need to be living in England. So that's important to note right at the start. And you need to be employed either full or part-time. But not in full-time education and training. So you need to be employed in a paid role, but yeah, not in full-time education or training. Okay, so how does an apprenticeship work? So an apprentice will be an employee working alongside experienced staff. Really important that you have that experienced team around you, because you're going to need them as you move through your apprenticeship. So think about your own teams, think about the people that you go to for advice, or people that you look up to because they're more experienced than you. You're going to need to draw some of their experience during the duration of your apprenticeship. You will need to be working to gain specific job skills and allow the time for training and study relating to your role. So it's given an example there of 6 hours a week. Let's say that you're employed, as I am, sort of 37 hours a week,
like
6 hours a week. Yeah. Sorry, can you just pop yourself on mute? I'm not sure who that is. Yeah. I don't know if they can hear me or not. But let's say that, as I am, you're employed full-time, 6 hours a week is what we would expect as a minimum for you to take as your off-the-job hours. We are looking at breaking that down further for people that are part-time. So, for example, if you work 30 hours a week, we'd be looking to to condense that to more like 5 hours a week. Now, that's representing around 20% of your working time being taken for your off the job hours. So we can, when we build enrollment, when we build your kind of learning plan, what we will do is we will put your off the job hours plan together as to when you're going to take them and how that's going to look, depending specifically on your contract of employment. So moving on to the next slide, I'm just going to explain a little bit more about what off the job hours looks like, because this again can be a common misconception with apprenticeships. People think that's going to webinars and doing tutorials and writing assignments, and it is, but it's lots more. And again, this surprised me. I didn't realize when I first started that, there's so much that's built into off the job hours. There's a whole list there you can see. But it's really important that the learning required for the apprentice to meet the knowledge, skills and behavioural components of the standard is mapped into their learning journey with BPro. So we do that right at the start when we enrol you. We map out a learning plan for you and we build all these things that you can see here into, how much of this do you do in your role? How much of that do you do in your role? And then let's build that into your off the job hours plan so that you've got then so much to go at in terms of demonstrating your off the job hours. And it's really important that that's relevant to both your role and the organisation that you're working for. So the journey is set out, as I've said, in the learning content. And then, for example, you've got technical knowledge delivered via workshops. You've got coaching sessions to learn and reflect on new skills. You've got study time to write an assignment. You've got lots of different things that you can then, go at in terms of evidencing your off the job hours. So a little bit more about our portfolio. Now, unlike a lot of providers, we don't deliver 25 apprenticeships because we don't believe that that provides quality. So these are our portfolio, and you'll see the People Professionals second one down there is the one that we're going to talk about today. So this is an overview of the apprenticeships that we are delivering throughout 2025. It is worth mentioning, if anyone's on this call and they're possibly going to join the level 7 call on Thursday with me, the government is looking to make changes to the level 7 and potentially, well, excuse me, I think they are going to, from what we know, remove it from the levy. The skills ministers decided that they're focusing much more on the sort of lower banded apprenticeships and moving people up that way rather than starting at the top. So that is potentially going to be happening. We don't know when. It's literally a crystal ball. We're asked all the time. I wish they wouldn't, because I love the level 7. It's amazing, but we have to just wait and see. And I know that may or may not apply to some people on this call, but it is safe to say that it will happen this year. However, if you're on programme, anybody already enrolled is perfectly safe and fine to continue. Now, most of these programmes, including the level 5 People Professional, we enrol them on a monthly basis. There are 2 exceptions at the bottom: Learning and Development level 3 and Coaching level 5. They do run to cohort enrolment windows, but for the programme we're going to be talking about today, the People Professional, we enrol them on a monthly basis, and then once you've completed the onboarding and enrolment stage, you will then join the workshop, the next one sort of from then. So here we go, the People Professional level 5. Now, this is a lot of information on this screen. I'm going to just break it down for you bit by bit. So we know that the apprenticeship will take 18 months to complete in total. So that's 18 months of learning, active learning, tutorial workshops, and building your portfolio. And at the end of that, you have a 3-month EPA, standing for Endpoint Assessment. That is the last part of your apprenticeship. Once you have completed your EPA, which you'll see the points at the bottom there and endpoint assessment, you have completely finished. And it's sort of separated. So there's 18 months of learning and then 3 months of wrapping it up, basically. So as part of learning, apprentices with BPro will study the Associate Diploma in People Management, accredited by the COPD, as we know it. And apprentices study 6 manual modules and 1 further optional unit according to their job role and aspirations. So you don't have to choose that at the start. You can choose that as you're moving through. But the optional units are there for you to see there. So specialist employment law, learning and development essentials, or wellbeing at work. You're choosing one of those. And you can see the 6 mandatory modules there too. I think Sam has dropped a fact sheet into the chat, so all of this is listed on the fact sheet as well. And typical job roles that we see within the people professional apprentices. Now, this is not, an exhaustive list by any means, but typical job roles would be something along the lines of HR manager, HR consultant, HR business partner, as typical examples. Of course, things, job descriptions, as we know, they don't always fully represent what you do. There is something we can do to help, or we might need to sort of say to you, you need to go to your manager and ask them to put an addendum into your job description to say that you have exposure to this. We do that quite a lot in our role. To make sure that you're not discounted unnecessarily, but it is also really important to make sure that we're not putting you in a position where we're asking you to evidence lots of things that you simply can't because it's not in your job description. That is the other side of it. The last thing we would ever want anybody to do is get past enrolment or through enrolment and enroll and then not feel that they can actually evidence any or many of the standards and the modules that we're going through. So we know that individuals working in this role use their HR expertise to provide and lead the delivery of HR solutions to solve challenges together with tailored advice to the business in a number of HR areas. You need to have a good grounding across the complete range of HR disciplines and will also be required to make decisions and recommendations on what the business can and should do in specific situations. So this is not level 3. Level 3 is more the practitioner, HR support, HR admin. This is the next level. This is leadership. This is all about leadership, in fact. And just looking at endpoint assessment there before I move on, your EPA, these are the three things that you'll have a presentation that you'll need to present and take questions on, a professional discussion underpinned by a portfolio of evidence. You spent 18 months building this portfolio, and now you're going to have to talk about it. Now, by the end of your 18 months on program with us, you should be dying to talk about it because you've spent 18 months doing all that work. And that's your time to shine, really, is during your professional discussion. And then you have the final assignment, which is people behaviour and valuing people, which is a really good module to be studying and a good assignment there as well. It's also important to note before I move on that with BPro, as I said, about your development coach will be, your partner really throughout your apprenticeship. Once you finish the 18 months and you go through to EPA, you still are very much in touch with your coach. That coach stays with you all the way through to EPA. If you do fail any point of your endpoint assessment, you can retake it as well, and we will support you with that. We will always take the time and make sure we put in extra time with you if needed to get you through your EPA. We are never going to, let you just sink at the end. We will always see you through. So as I said, with the with the people professional level 5, there is no enrolment window. All learners can enroll monthly. And this is the kind of thing that you're going to be doing during your program and what that's going to look like. So you'll attend the live workshops to gain the knowledge. And in addition, you'll complete a variety of online work-based activities to enable you to demonstrate that competence. Your development coach will meet with you to conduct observations and hold discussions, and that's to help you gather evidence against the apprenticeship standards. Now, it's worth saying as well, when you're enrolling onto an apprenticeship, of course, this is a CIPD qualification that you're having hand in hand with your apprenticeship. You are getting that for free. So you are achieving that for yourself for free. To do it outside of an apprenticeship and to do it commercially would cost you upwards of £2,000 roughly. So that qualification is going to be with you for life. And that is really the beauty of the apprenticeship, is that by doing it through your workplace, you are actually gaining that qualification for yourself. We do offer it as added value. We don't charge for it. It's embedded within this apprenticeship standard. But it is really, really, really important to note that you must complete the whole apprenticeship, including the EPA, in order to achieve your CIPD certificate. And just moving up a step there, back to delivery plan. So we know that this takes 18 months plus your EPA, but this is what it involves. So we have 18 workshops, so that's one a month, 9 milestone progress reviews, 9 coaching sessions, 6 written assignments, and 1 on-demand learning module. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our delivery model now and what that looks like, just so you know what kind of the next steps are. So the first stage, if you wanted to enrol, is that you would go through the onboarding stage. And here you will meet me or the lovely Sam, because this is our job. So our job is to take you through that onboarding stage. Okay, so you will need to meet with us firstly. We will need to have access to your job description to make sure that your job description is going to match the sort of the duties within the people professional level 5. And we will just really make sure that that's right for you, and we will take the time to do that. But a really important part of mine and Sam's job is to make sure right at the very beginning that you're eligible for funding, you're living in England, you're in the right job, that sort of thing. That's what we do. We also provide insight videos to the learners and the manager. That's very important as well, to make sure that you all understand what an apprenticeship involves and how it's delivered. You will then move forward to your one-to-one initial advice and guidance session, which is conducted by your coach. And on the back of that call, we do your enrolment. Now, those two calls are merged now. We used to do them separately. So once upon a time, you'd have had like an hour with the coach, and then you'd have had a separate call booked in for your enrolment. What we were finding was, because we need your line manager on the call, trying to get line manager's availability for next Wednesday, and then to do the information, advice and guidance, and it might be in 2 weeks before they've got another hour and a half in their diary that they can commit to enrolment, and it was just too far stretched apart. So it is one great big call now, but the good news is that by the end of it you're fully enrolled, which is great. So we're very committed to making sure that that is done in the right way. It does take time. It's supposed to take time. It's not just a course you're signing up for. It's a full apprenticeship. You're accessing funding, and therefore we need to make sure that compliance wise we've jumped through all of those hoops that we need to. And again, it's really, really important to make sure that your employer is committed as much as you are. This is very much a relationship between your employer, yourself, and us, to make sure that everybody's fully on board with it. Okay. So we offer our apprenticeships as part of a cohort delivery model. So you will always be on program with other learners. Now, this can be from, we try to cap the top end of the cohort at 20, only because it's an awful lot for the tutor to deliver to more than 20 at once. It wouldn't be very fair to put a cohort of 40 together and then one tutor to deliver workshops. That would be very unfair. So what we do is we do cap it at 20, but within that cohort you will be working with individuals from a massive range of industry. We really promote collaborative working, getting to know people, learning from each other. We try really hard not to make the tutorial workshops death by PowerPoint, because nobody wants that for 3 hours. So we try to do like breakout rooms where you might be put into smaller groups, like 4 or 5, and kind of go away and discuss a topic and then come back and share it, and share resources, share values, share insights, share perspective, that sort of thing. And it is a really, really good way to open your mindset. And what works in your organization might be completely different to the way that another organization would deal with something, purely because of the way that the makeup of that organization itself. So yeah, we think that that's super important too. And lastly, I was going to talk about functional skills. However, as I said, this slide, I'm not going to go into it massively. If you did, for whatever reason, need to do functional skills, you are supported by a designated functional skills tutor. So this is not the coach or the tutors that I was talking about before. This is somebody who is a maths or English teacher, essentially, with that qualification to teach. So they will support you. They'll go through workshops with you, mock exams, and then prepare you for sort of your final exam. But as we said, I can't see many employers forcing apprentices to go through maths and English functional skills, purely because it's taking away more time from their job. Because if you are enrolling in functional skills, it might be that you need to commit more than 6 hours a week. So there may be occasions where employers do. I very much doubt that there'll be many. But yes, that is the last slide from me. So firstly, thank you so much for joining today. I really just want to kind of close by saying that an apprenticeship is a skill for life. It's something you will always have with you. No one can ever take it away from you. It's absolutely something to build on from. from that. And I'm going to open the floor up to any questions. Before I do, just a quick reminder, if you're on the call and you are interested, you want to know more or have a one-to-one chat with me, please do reach out. Sam's added my contact details into the box, along with a few other things, I think. So thanks ever so much for coming. Please stay on the call just for a minute. I just want to see if anybody has any questions or anything specific that they want to say. Please use the chat box. Floor's open. Thank you.